of reminding them of this great responsibility that society has reposed on them. I am informed that before designing the content proposition of this important paper, Zim Papers consulted widely, and that even some of our cabinet ministers, as you have seen from the clips, from the economic ministries had their say. I am also informed that there was also broad participation of the business community in defining their expectations. We wait to see if the paper will strike the right chord with all of you. We reject the notion that our economy is a dying economy. We see an economy on the rebound, and we hope this is what will be reflected in the pages of this publication. We hope this paper will profile the work of hard-working Zimbabweans and their contribution to our economic growth. The stories of our people's resilience and innovation are not given fair and just acknowledgement in most of our daily and weekly papers. We would like to see more of the positive efforts of our business community documented. Yes, the political story is important and should be told, but there's need for a balance. It is important to know the challenges that business is facing and the creative innovations business is championing. In the same vein, it is also important to expose bad business practices and encourage or profile best practices to allow for objective reportage. Media houses should not be used as springboards for political gladiators. The political verbal skirmishes we read in our publicly and privately owned newspapers cannot be allowed to continue uncondemned. Our role as government is to create an enabling environment where business thrives. This publication has come at an opportune time. It provides government and business an opportunity to interface. As government, we are keen to learn from the collaborate with you, the business community. We hope, therefore, that the Business Weekly will be a place where the government and business can share ideas and help move the country forward. With these few remarks, it is now my pleasure to introduce our guest of honor. Our guest of honor is a man of great character. He is intelligent. He is able to balance charm with seriousness, which can be quite disarming. He is a very courageous person who has been tried and tested throughout the history of our struggles for political and economic independence, characterized initially by acts of passive resistance and followed by the armed struggle. Our guest of honor is a man of few words and more, a man of action. He is a humble man, very soft-spoken and forthright. He has a very complex personality, an enigma, in many respects, which results in his being misunderstood at times. The man who is about to address us was a founding member of the famed Crocodile Group, which the Rhodesians later called the Crocodile Gang. Our guest of honor was the ringleader of part of the Crocodile Group, which was credited with blowing up a locomotive in Masvingo, marking the end of the passive resistance period and the beginning of armed direct confrontation against the white settler colonialists. For his role in this act of sabotage, our guest speaker was arrested and committed to prison for 10 years, having escaped the death penalty on account of being under the age of majority, which was 21 years then. Our guest of honor was deported from his own country to northern Rhodesia, now Zambia, by the Rhodesians after serving his prison term, which was a blessing in disguise as it enabled him to join fellow freedom fighters, swelling the ranks of brave sons and daughters of Zimbabwe operating from bases in neighboring countries. At the Chimoio Congress of 1977, our guest speaker became special assistant to the president and member of the national executive of ZANU. He participated in the Lancaster House Conference as one of the legal brains of the Patriotic Front. At independence in 1980, he became the first Minister of National Security, serving in that position for the next 8 years before being given Justice, Legal, and Parliamentary Affairs portfolio. Other ministerial appointments included Acting Minister for Finance, Minister of Defense, and Speaker of the House of Assembly. In the ruling party, our guest of honor has upheld the revolutionary correct line, and he has been there since 1977. First as member of the National Executive Committee, NEC, and from 1984, when the Politburo was introduced, as a Politburo member. Our guest of honor is none other than the Vice President of the ruling party and government of Zimbabwe, Honorable Dambudzo Mnangagwa. Before I invite Honorable Vice President to come and speak to us, let me to support Minister Chinamasa's few words here, repeat my biblical story that I like more than the rest of the 4 Gospels stories in the Bible. That when Jesus was about to enter Jerusalem, he asked for a pony which he rode on as he went down into Jerusalem. Multitudes of people who had come to see Jesus started spreading their pieces of clothes and other valuables so that the donkey can step on. And the donkey was very happy. The pony thought it was the donkey that was being respected by the people. And so the donkey felt so big and was very proud. But as soon as Jesus disembarked from the back of the donkey, the story of the donkey was never written in the Bible. So, Zim Papers, we want to thank you for our people not to waste time praising the donkey, because the donkey will not be written as soon as the master steps off their back. Worry about business. Don't worry about the politicians, the little ponies that Jesus rode on when he went down into Jerusalem. Your Honorable Vice President, it is my pleasure and a rare privilege to invite you to come and give your speech.
Those who can sit, pray be seated. The two directors of ceremonies, the host minister for Harare Metropolitan Province, Honorable Miriam Chikukwa, who is with us here, the Minister of Information, Media and Broadcasting Services, Honorable Dr. Mshowe, the Minister of Finance and Economic Development, Honorable Patrick Chinamasa. Other government ministers who may be present, and deputy ministers also who may be present. The permanent secretary in the Ministry of Information is represented by his brother here. Other senior government officials here present. Zim Papers board chairperson, Mr. Lupepe, and board members who are here. The Zim Papers Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Deketeke, and his management staff, captains of industry who are present, the media fraternity who are here, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Before I read my speech, I would like to say I accepted to come, one, because a colleague had invited me, but secondly, when he said I must launch a business weekly, I thought it was an opportunity to launch a paper where possibly I might read through an article. Because I hardly read through most of the articles of current newspapers. On behalf of His Excellency, the President and the Commander-in-Chief of Zimbabwe Defense Forces, Comrade R.G. Mugabe, and indeed on my own behalf, I'm delighted to be the inaugural newscaster of the advent of a new kid on the block in the media fraternity, as I have been invited by Zim Papers through the Minister of Information, Media and Broadcasting Services to preside over the launch of the Business Weekly newspaper. I'm glad to join colleagues and compatriots from the business community, the media industry, and other sectors across the board to jointly celebrate the launch of this new publication. In today's world, media has become as essential as our daily needs. Nobody has put this across better than Thomas Jefferson, one of the American founding fathers and presidents, when he wrote to Edward Carrington in 1787, and I quote, "The people are the only censors of their governors, and even their errors would tend to keep these to the true principles of their institution. To punish these errors too severely would be to suppress the only safeguard of the public liberty. The way to prevent these irregular interpositions of the people is to give them full information of their affairs through the channel of the public papers, and to contrive that those papers should penetrate the whole mass of the people. The basis of our governments being the opinion of the people, the very first object should be to keep that right. And where it left to me to decide whether we should have a government without newspapers or newspapers without a government, I should not hesitate a moment to prefer the latter, to have newspapers without a government. But I should mean that every man should receive those papers and be capable of reading through the papers." End of quote. Distinguished guests, today the media plays a critical role in influencing and shaping public opinion and in enhancing our business interests. I'm sure when opinion is being shaped, to those who see it being positive become happy. To those who see it being negative become unhappy. That's the sword of the media, cutting both sides. Media is the sword for empowerment and sustainable socio-economic transformation. It is my firm conviction that for our economy to achieve the targets we have set for ourselves through our various programs, we need to communicate more efficiently and effectively. To that end, there is need for robust debate, serious discourse on policy rationality, improved production levels, the ease of doing business, and the financial services that are offered. Every policy must be interrogated with a view of making the reforms work and develop our country, Zimbabwe. Media is one of the most powerful tools of business communication. Marketing and influences public opinion and preferences the world over. It can aid in the provision of relevant business information, promotion of prudent business ethics, and upholding of good corporate governance by office bearers at all levels. It acts as watchdog to protect the public interest against malpractice and engenders public awareness. Furthermore, it helps in fighting against corruption, nepotism in institutional machinery, and carrying out relentless campaigns against them. Ladies and gentlemen, we invite the business community to use this publication to influence government policy and its policy instruments. For, after all, these policies are meant to grow your businesses. The role of the publications like the one we are launching tonight, the Business Weekly, is basically to build a conversation with one's clients and potential customers or consumers. companies are successfully using print and electronic media to drive sales, recruit employees, build communities, and create a positive, well-known brand. Media can be leveraged to create wonderful marketing masterpieces. Big names like Skype and Dell have successfully used electronic media to increase their sales, their brand, and the community around their products. Zimbabweans too can use this publication to establish and grow their businesses. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, through this publication, we can share and profile different business models with the private sector so that we move in the same direction. As government, we strongly believe that the media provides a platform for all citizens to know what is happening across various sectors. Businesses and investors often look at what the media says in order to make informed decisions and act accordingly. It is therefore critical that the media in Zimbabwe appreciates the key responsibility it has in the developmental trajectory of our great nation, Zimbabwe. To this end, I urge the Business Weekly newspaper to dutifully write and contribute to the achievement of our national goals and targets towards an empowered society and a growing economy, as enunciated in our Zimbabwe Agenda for Sustainable Socio-Economic Transformation, ZIMASET. I am advised that this publication is coming onto the market following the persistent call by the business community for a publication which is not driven by a narrow social and political agenda. While there are other newspapers on the market, the general view is that none has been able to cater for the market-specific needs of business leaders and professionals. As government, we hope that this publication will fill the void I have just alluded to above and become a game changer in the media industry. For example, there's been lack of information on SMEs, success stories, and how companies and business leaders are positively changing the country's economic landscape. Consequently, we need a positive narrative that will drive the country forward. For us as government, it is always a good thing when we are called upon to witness the birth of new ideas, innovation, and projects. I'm advised that Zim Papers employs close to 1,000 people across its interests in the digital and the publishing sector, radio broadcasting, and television production, as well as in printing and packaging. I'm told the group owns 11 newspapers, and this is the 12th one. In the past 5 years, the company has ventured into radio broadcasting and now has 2 radio stations under its belt. In addition, its printing and packaging arm, Nutprint, is doing extremely well. These are the success stories we are keen to hear and see as government. When our firms create jobs, we celebrate and fully support them. Ladies and gentlemen, let me unequivocally state that the government of Zimbabwe is committed to creating a conducive business environment which meets the needs of the media industry. Healthy business translates into a healthy economy. When we see our businesses thriving, as is happening here today, we are challenged to do more. The ease of doing business reforms and other government programs we are running with are meant to bolster investor confidence in the country. So, let us continue to engage each other on the regulatory policy framework which you need. We are challenged to ensure that entrepreneurs and those who are in the SME and informal sectors are supported to thrive and become fully fledged enterprises. It is through media that we as government can dialogue with the private sector for us to bring about an environment where the private sector can thrive. When the private sector thrives, then we know we in the public sector will stay and stay and stay in power. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, one of the success stories of media is the role they are playing in disseminating adequate information on the rationale, progress, and success of the Special Maize Program for import substitution, better known as Command Agri, not ugly, Agriculture. Command Beautiful Agriculture. The media kept us all informed about developments in this program, which has seen farmers getting the right information at the right time. In this regard, I'm pleased to inform you that we are now expecting a bumper harvest. And the bumper harvest is on the ground, in the fields. Simple households, A1 farmers, A2 farmers, small-scale farmers know that there is a bumper harvest. You cannot look for the bumper harvest in some papers. In this regard, I'm pleased to inform you that we are now expecting a bumper harvest of at least 2 million metric tons from the 2016-2017 summer cropping season. And this is a very, very conservative figure. Because as I was going around last week, at every GMB depot I visited, I was informed by management that they had already exceeded the amount of grain that that particular GMB had collected the whole of last year, but were only about 1/3 through the season. I applaud the media industry for sterling job in keeping all stakeholders updated on progress in our national programs. Let me hasten to say that the proceeds from the program will benefit all our citizens, irrespective of tribe, religion, ethnicity, political affiliation, among other factors. In fact, when we are well fed, then we can continue talking because we are well fed. It is therefore important that our people must talk because others are producing. As government, we are, however, note that business continues to grapple with high production costs, antiquated equipment, and inadequate utilities like water and power, with the demand for cash and foreign currency remaining very high. This is the task my colleague here, Commissioner Massa, is burdened with his brother, Governor Mangunja. I always say, I'm happy to say, when he was speaking, he was exuding confidence that the economy is growing. Because I can assure you, if you went to Chinamasa, he says, I have no money. He said, oh no, I brought you a cup of tea. But I believe now he will say, yes, chef, what is it? Then I say, look, you under-allocated funds to the Minister of Justice. Can you increase? Then I think he would consider. This publication will therefore have the vital task of encouraging mutual dialogue between government and business to tackle the challenges facing our economy. Because currently, the biggest challenge we have as a nation is the economic challenges, not the political challenges. We got our independence, that is political, in 1980. And we are now 37 years into independence. But the issue of economic success and growth will continue be a challenge to this nation. And that is what we must face and dialogue together, and together share how we must move forward. But of course, after every 5 years, we must find the time to vote for the ruling party. I exhort this newly inaugurated Business Weekly newspaper to update us on developments in our money capital markets for the benefit of our ardent business people, among other stakeholders. As publishers of the weekly paper, I implore you, Chief Executive, to adequately disseminate information to our general public and other stakeholders to make use of the debt and credit cards facility in financial transactions. This will certainly assist our country in taming the cumulative demand for hard cash, as evidenced by the long, winding queues at our banking halls. In the same vein, may I once again call for the reduction of transactional charges by banks. In fact, I have seen a few banking CEOs in here. Let me repeat in case you... May I once again call for the reduction of transactional charges by banks and other financial intermediaries when using plastic money. In this respect, I wish to remind you of the fact that consumers are rational beings, and none of them will have the incentive to hold onto or hold money if the transactions can be done safely, cheaply, and conveniently using debt and credit cards. In the modern day world, the use of plastic money is the way to go towards a cashless economy. Financial institutions should remain with their financial intermediary role, credit creation and the lending roles, rather than being dispensers of hard cash only. I want to appreciate some of the players in the financial service sector who heeded my recent calls to reduce charges. I urge those who have not yet done so to follow suit. Ladies and gentlemen, as we launch this Business Weekly newspaper tonight, I advise you not only to ensure robust and bold reporting of business issues, but also to consider the need for reporting on other issues that hamper or contribute to the achievement of our goals as a nation. I am confident that this will enhance service delivery and good governance beyond the public sector. I understand the mayor is around. The mayor is ours, doesn't matter which political party you belong to. So this Business Weekly should make the mayor work harder. As government, we remain committed and unwavering in supporting the media industry in this endeavor. Once again, I commend Zimpepa's group for this initiative and assure you all of our commitment as government to supporting you in this regard. And I assure my colleague, Dr. Mshoe, that you will find us in government responding positively to the challenges you may meet. As a key stakeholder to government policies, your collaboration is key to the realization of good governance and effective oversight in Zimbabwe. The main function of the media is to keep everyone informed, educated, equipped with what we need to know, and to enable us to be better citizens of our country. In the exciting, uneven, and internet age, the need for news which is accurate and fair, insightful, and independent has become greater than ever before. With these few remarks, ladies and gentlemen, it is now my pleasure and honor to declare the Business Weekly newspaper officially launched. I thank you.
While we have the Vice President still standing, I'd like to call him back to the stage so that he may hand out. First, I'd like to call Mr. Kudzanai Sharara to come and explain what the business awards are, and the Vice President to hand out the awards to the winners.
From here. Honorable Vice President,
I really wish you every success with your plan to start a purely business paper. You may well have to get into debates with government about how they could make it easier for business to get on with the job.
Business excellence. With the stock exchange currently leading,
we really wanted
the top performing
for it to be a standalone because we felt it.
With a year-to-date gain of above 37% as of today, it's important that we pause and appreciate the outstanding qualities of some of the listed companies. They are companies that make a vital contribution to our economy today and the foundation of our future prosperity. Be that as it may, awards are normally done on an annual basis, but again, it would have been a misnomer to look at the period ending 31 December 2016 and leave out the period between January and June 2017, a period when the market has been moving in an ever-increasing pace to become the continent's top performer. As a result, we annualized performance by combining the period from June 2016 to June 2017 to come up with our winners for tonight. Choosing our winners for the night was straightforward, as we just focused at the market's top riser year on year for both the main industrial index and the mining index, as well as the most traded counter by value over the same period. ZB Financial Holdings and General Holdings were contenders for the market's top performing counter with a 450% gain each, but lost out to the eventual winner, Masimba Holdings Limited, a construction company, which has recorded a year-on-year gain of 540% from 0.75 cents to 4.8 cents, and these are in US dollars gains. So Masimba is the top riser year on year. In the mining sector, Rio Zim was the outright winner with a 242% gain year on year, although Bindura also did very well, recording a 150% gain, but Rio Zim was the outright winner. I'm told there is no representative for Rio Zim. Maybe, okay, the Business Weekly editor will hold the award for them. And then in terms of the most traded counter by value, Delta scooped with more than $58 million having been invested in the counter from the beginning of June 2016 to the end of June 2017. Econet was close with just about $50 million finding its way into the counter, but Delta was the winner in terms of value traded.
Thank you very much, Honorable Vice President. Thank you very much everyone. I'd like now to call upon the Business Weekly editor, the only woman editor in Zimbabwe, to give us the vote of thanks.
Well, good evening. I'm not going to go upstairs, just to thank you all for coming. I want to thank the Vice President, Honorable Mnangagwa, for coming. He made us postpone the dates a couple of times because we were looking we had to have him here. And then we moved. The launch was supposed to be early June. We moved. So you see, we wanted you here. I'd like to also thank the Information Minister, Minister Mshowe. I'd also like to thank the Harare Province Minister, Minister Chikukwa, and to thank Minister Chinamasa. He's been super excited about this project. He's been calling when we invited him to come over for meetings. He said, I'll talk to everyone who's there, every minister that deals with economic matters, just to come and be with. And he dragged Minister Made, he dragged Dr. Mangujiga to come to Herald House, which is something that had never happened before. So thank you very much, Minister Chinamasa. And I'd also like to thank those of you who heeded to this invitation at very short notice. Some of the invites we sent this morning, some of them came during the weekend, but we thank you very much for coming. And before I but we're just going to give him for free. Thank you. Okay. First customer. Thanks. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. And we would also like to present tokens of appreciation that you came to be with us this evening. We're going to have to present. Well, thank you very much. Well, thank you very much, guys, for coming. And I wish you well. Good evening.
Thank you very much. Please give a round of applause for Happiness. You know what I love about Happiness is she is as real as they come. She's like, the hills later, I'll do this. You know, and that's what we know she's going to do for the Business Weekly. So a lot of people have been asking me, what does Sokostina mean? I will tell you. Ndoera Soko, ndimwene washo. Saka Soko is for the monkey. Stina is for the swag. So I'm just a monkey with swag. That's it.
I don't know how many people actually got to hear that. The people at the front did, but the people at the back, I don't think so. They've been indulging in the food and the alcohol. As you said, journalists, that's how they operate. Thank you all for coming out tonight. It's not as cold as it was last week, but you joined us here as we're launching the Business Weekly, which is setting the Zimbabwe business agenda.
And of course, if you are on social media, it's hashtag Business Weekly ZW, or follow us at BIZ Weekly ZW, at BIZ Weekly ZW. And of course, please follow me. I am Sokostina, and you can also follow Chris at Chris Charamba. So it's been an absolutely amazing evening, and we are reopening the bar.
Yes, so those of you who would like to stay, continue to mingle, have a drink, please feel free. Thank you all for coming out, and have a lovely evening and drive home safely.
From Zim Papers Group, mad love. Good night.
successful with your plan to start a purely business paper, you may well have to get into debates with government about how they could make it easier for business to get on with the job.
We really wanted to for it to be a standalone, because we felt it in the muscle and even the readership, locally and internationally, to be a standalone newspaper. Not that we're divorcing from Zim papers, but within the Zim papers group, but as a standalone outside the Herald.
Most of them say, and of course, let's have somewhere where we can say, yes, history is history. We learn from history, but let's not be prisoners of the past. In the circumstances of the case, we must find a way ahead, a way to the future. And that is the message that I want this week to focus on.
You have to deal with the non-journalists. Who also have the patience not to say I fought, give me the story now. This will be slightly different because sometimes in your business we can want to talk about administration, but it is data with the facts. Sometimes the data is not many data are not the facts, but the data. That's what I want. If we are talking about production, business is driven by wanting to know what is the volume of business and the trends. We would not want articles where you know very clearly that the government policy says this, but technically somebody is pushing a certain agenda.
But I think there could be a bit of an improvement on competitor analysis and the trends. I think that will help a lot. Because remember, you have all these newspapers on your desk and what you do. I think you should have already do that in the shortest possible time. So that you can also look at trend and see what competition is doing.
To give us issues that are not already in the public domain would help, rather than something that was already made. As long as it's meaningful information and that people want, I'm convinced that you can actually get a subscription base to it.
One of the things that people cherish or people want to do when you've got something as nice as that is to be seen to be holding it. I see it when I go to the airport and I'm holding a copy of The Economist. It's a different perception altogether. I'm viewed as sophisticated, so when you've got something like that, people will want to be seen with it.
An investor needs a paper that speaks to them, that tells them what Zimbabwe has to offer, that gives the trends. So I feel this Business Weekly will do exactly that, and that it will succeed in the market, because
If I have a lover who worried, waking from tormented sleep. Disorder has me bound by the new love custody. If I choose now, I lose out, but one of you has to fall. I need you.
When the night has gone and land is dawn, and the moon is the only light you see. No, I won't